Hi students, welcome back to English class. Here we'll continue with the chapter The Poem The Patriot written by Robert Browning, Part 2. So let's have a recap on what we have learned in the previous class. So we know that the poem is divided to 6 stanzas and we have learned first 3 stanzas in the previous class. So over there what's discussed is about in the first stanza we find the poet recollecting his good old days. Memories when he was appointed as the leader. And how he was welcomed by the public then was roses were strewn over his path, church bells were rung to welcome him, and church tower blazed with a victory flag. That was how the public had welcomed him. Later, what has happened to the Patriot, or what was the plight of Patriot 1 year after that? Just after the first year, he has fallen on the evil days. That is, the public being whimsical, they started treating him not as a leader, but they started considering him as their enemy. Evil days of the Patriot. Those who have admired him once now consider him as their enemies. Patriot regrets for all the troubles taken by him. That is towards the end, or in the third stanza, we find the Patriot regretting and saying, "Why, or you see my harvest, or what I am reaping now. That is, in spite of all the pains taken by me, there is no one to praise me, or there is no one to appreciate me." It hurts the Patriot a lot. Let's enter into the fourth stanza. That is right from fourth stanza onwards. What we find in the last 3 stanzas is about the unfortunate sentencing and the death of the Patriot. So now he is suspected by the public, and as a result they are planning to execute him. So what are the scenes that the Patriot finds on the way when he was moving to the scaffold, or where the site where he is supposed to be executed? Let's check it. There's nobody on the housetops now, just a palsied few at the window sit, for the best of the sight is all allow at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot I trow. So he's telling, there's nobody on the housetop now. He was recollecting his good old days when the housetops were heaving and when the house roofs were heaving and swaying because of the public who have gathered there. You remember in the first stanza, right? So now what's the plight of those housetops? There is nobody on the housetops now. Just a palsied few. And if there is anyone left on the house roof, it is only housetop now, it is only palsied few. Palsied means paralyzed people. That is, those who are incapable of walking properly. Paralyzed. Paralyzed people. That is, they cannot walk a lot. So, they are there in the house itself. Rest all who are capable of walking have decided, or they have made up their mind to go to the shambles gate to witness the execution of this Patriot. So now the remaining people at the housetops is only those paralyzed people. At the window sit, they could be found standing nearby the window. For the best of sight is all allowed. And why only these paralyzed people are over there is that the best of sight is, if you want to get a better sight regarding the execution of this man, of this Patriot, if anyone wants to have a better sight on the execution of this patriot, all allow means all admits that if you want to have a better view on the execution, you have to be where? You have to be at the shambles gate. The shambles gate. Or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot I trod. Or again, if you want to have a better view on the execution of this patriot, if you will not be satisfied with the sight you get from the shambles gate, then better yet, you have to move to the very scaffold's foot. Scaffold's foot meaning platform where execution is done. The platform where a criminal will be executed. Usually execution will be in the form of beheading or cutting of his head or hanging him with a rope. So if you cannot be satisfied, or if you will not be satisfied with the view you get from the shambles gate, it's better you move to which place? To the scaffold's foot. Scaffold's foot means the platform where the criminal will be executed. So he's telling, I trow. I trow means I think. Is it clear? So that is the reason why he couldn't find anyone on the housetops. Now he is supposed to be executed. So when he was taken to the execution site, the entire scenario was different. He was recollecting those good old days when he was appointed as leader. It was through the same road that he had walked one day. But on that day, the entire road was all decorated, and he was given a warm welcome with roses, with myrtles, and also the entire buildings were decorated with different colored flags. Church bells were ringing, and there were crowd crying or shouting at the sight of their newly appointed leader. But now, after 1 year, the public being whimsical, that is, those people who changes in accordance with their moods and interests, they were fed up with this patriot. As a result, now they have decided to execute or to behead this patriot. As a result, he is taken to the shambles gate. So he is telling, I go in rain, and more than needs, a rope cuts both my wrist behind. So he is telling, now there is no one behind me, or there is no one to welcome me. I am going in rain. More than needs. More than needs means it is more than what is necessary. That is, it is raining unnecessarily. There is no need of rain now, but it's raining. A rope cuts both my wrists behind. And you want to know my condition now? A rope. I am tied, my wrists are being tied with the help of the rope. And this rope has cut both my wrists behind. So it is hurting me a lot. And I think by the feel my forehead bleeds. Not only that, I think that my forehead is bleeding because his wrist is being wounded up with the help of the rope. He's not able to sense what's happening to his forehead. So he's telling, as per what I feel now, I think that my forehead is also bleeding. For they fling. For the reason is that they are flinging. Fling means they are throwing stones on me. Whoever has a mind stones at me for my years misdeed. And why they are throwing stones upon me is that, according to them, I have done 1 year of thorough misdeed. I didn't do anything for the welfare of the country. That is what the public says now. I have been committing lot of evil action in my country. So for the evil action which I have committed against my countrymen, they are going to punish me by executing me. And out of their anger, they are now throwing stones at me. Thus, I entered, and thus I go. In times, people have dropped down dead, paid by the world. What dost thou owe me? God my question. Now instead, 'tis God shall repay. I'm safer so. So he's telling, thus I entered and thus I go. This is a figure of speech. We call it as antithesis. Antithesis. This figure of speech is called antithesis. Antithesis means it highlights two contrasted ideas to emphasize them. Just like united we stand, divided we fall. That is, two contrasted ideas are there. If you're united, no problem. If you're divided, you will definitely face problems. Similarly, thus I entered. I entered a year ago. I was welcomed by the public. I entered as a great leader. Now, how am I leaving? I am leaving as a traitor. That is, before them, I am a great cheat, or they are leaving me, or they have deserted me, or they have made amends to execute me. So this figure of speech is what we call as antithesis. In times, people have dropped down dead, paid by the world. In triumph, triumph means in victory. There are many people who have died soon after attaining the victory. In triumph, people have dropped down dead. That is, there are many people who have died soon after attaining the victory. Paid by the world. Such people are actually paid by the world itself. Soon after attaining victory, if you're dying, that is, it is at the moment when you're highly loved and respected by the people. Isn't it? So, when such people die, it is like the world, the people have paid for their death. People have rewarded him in his death too. What dost thou owe me? God my question. So, when victorious people die, they are paid by the people itself. So, when such people die and go to God, and when they are asking to God, what dost thou owe? How are you going to reward me? When such victorious people die, and after reaching to God, they might ask God, what are you going to reward me? Then God will say, me. God will say, why should I? God might question. Me means, why should I pay for you? God might question. God might say so. That is, when victorious people die, they are rewarded by the people itself, by the public itself. And when such people die and ask to God, God, how are you going to reward me? Then God will say, why should I reward you? Already your people have rewarded you. Your entire population has paid for you, or they have rewarded a great thing for you. Now instead, but my case is different. Now instead means my case is different. At this moment, my case is different. 'Tis God shall repay. Since people didn't repay for my good deeds, since no one has rewarded me for my good deeds, I'm safer so. Definitely, God will repay for my good deeds. Who will repay for my good deeds? It is God who's going to repay for my good deeds. So, I'm safer so. So, he's really optimistic there. He's telling, definitely God will repay for my good deeds. So, as a result, I'm safe in the hands of God. So, a great deal of optimism is reflected in these lines. He is a true patriot actually. He doesn't show any sort of anger to the public who has deserted him now. His belief makes him feel safe and secure. What is his belief? Though the people didn't reward me, there is God who will reward me after my death. So that feeling makes him feel safe and secure now. Actually, this type of optimism, it is a typical case of Browning's optimism itself, which seems to be, which is really unrealistic in an age of doubt and atheism. So this is how the poem ends. The poem ends with a mark of optimism in the heart or the minds of Patriot. So we have come to the end of this chapter. Thank you.